Okay, so I thought I'd do a video to address Simon's, not question, but his stress about how to paint those complicated rocks within the Staithes painting that he's doing. And it comes down to what we've talked about before, simplification and letting the paint do the work. And simplification is a golden rule in painting. The trouble with it is if you use it as a starting point, it then begs the question, well, how much do I simplify? So this is how you should use that rule. You should paint only what you see, and do that through squinted eyes, or, as I've mentioned before, look just to the side of the object or thing that you're painting and paint only what you see in your peripheral vision. So either by doing that or by squinting, you eliminate unnecessary detail and you just see the broad, big shapes and tones. Now, you can then use the simplification golden rule as a sanity check by painting in that way, so that your brain's not jumping in and telling you what should be there. You're only painting what you can see. But then you look and you say, have I stuck to that rule, or can I simplify more what I've done? Is there things in there that actually I can't see in my peripheral vision? Then I'll take a bigger brush, load it with some paint and simplify that area. And it's usually in the larger areas, passages of colour, that you'll have probably been a bit over fussy. So what you do is check those first, take a big brush, look in your peripheral vision, squint and go, actually I can't see that detail, then simplify. I hope that makes sense, rather than starting with the simplification rule. Use it as a way of checking what you've done. So we're going to look at an artist to illustrate that, a master artist. And it's an artist I reference all the time because he's a real painter's painter. And there's a couple of ways of getting to this way of letting the paint do the work. One way is to do a master study. That is, go online, find a high resolution image of a similar artist to the one I'm going to show you, John Sargent, and do a copy of that stroke for stroke. You don't have to do the whole painting, you can just do a section of it. So it'll end up almost looking like an abstract painting. You'll know what it is. You've literally copied stroke for stroke. The other way is to just over and over again practice following the method of just squinting or the peripheral vision trick and painting it that way. It's the way Sargent would have painted. I know Terry did an absolutely magnificent John Sargent painting in one of the classes. I think it's the Oyster Gatherers, I think it's called, I don't know. And you don't realise how much you learn through doing that. So it's a great thing to do. Another artist I'm going to point you towards before we look at John Sargent's painting is Katie. Look on the group chat. Katie did a commission of two kids. And look at the hair on that. So that is classic way of painting only what you see. Because you look at it and you read it as hair on the kids' heads and it looks fantastic. But she hasn't painted every strand of hair. If you look closely at it, she's painted only what you would see if you squinted when you looked. And she's eliminated all fussy detail that would stand out a mile and just look wrong if she'd have put it in the painting. So that's another great example. I mean, Simon's raised this question, and I'm a little surprised because he's kind of already done this on paintings I've seen him do and done it really well. So I don't know if there's a confidence thing, and just, you know, there's a lot to learn in painting, but there's not a lot in terms of the rules you should follow. And this is painting realism. So really, you do what you've already been doing, and just have that sanity check, that golden rule of, can I simplify? Has my brain jumped in and presumed things? So let's look at a John Sargent painting, and then I'll take it from there. I might give it a go of just doing a little step-by-step sketch of the rocks at Staithes as well. We'll see. But let's look at the Sargent painting. So this is Sargent's painting of the Simplon Pass. I think that's what it's called.
magnificent painting. I mean, great inspiration for you, Jane, for your mountain paintings. Great depth, great tonal values. I mean, it's realism, and it looks like it's full of detail. Those, that distant mountain, and yet when we move close in on that mountain, you can see that the highlight against the mountain is literally quite scruffy brush strokes, just dashed in, and similar with the main rock in the foreground. I mean, dashes of real rich color. Kind of almost instinctively put in the rubble, the pebbles and rocks is like an abstract painting, and yet from a distance, that's what we get. Definite realism, looks full of detail, absolutely terrific. I'm not going to be able to paint like John Sargent, but I'm going to do a quick, very, very quick demo of the Staithes painting. Okay, so starting off, underpainting. I'm not sure you did this, Simon. I think you might have missed this stage out, but the underpainting is really, really important. I mean, it underpins everything within your painting, and it allows you to put tonal values come first. It gives you a great guide in which to put colour on top of afterwards. Even when you're mixing colours, mix a generic colour, but get the tone right first and then adjust the colour. But tone must always come first, so a nice tonal underpainting. And then on that, I will just spot in the darkest darks, being careful not to go too black with that. And likewise, the lightest lights, always mix a bit of yellow ochre, even into the whitest parts that you see. And then it's good to go. I feel home and dry once I reach this stage when I'm painting out and about. And obviously I'm doing this really quickly, not as quickly as it looks because I've speeded the film up, but I'm painting this really quickly, so I'd probably spend a lot longer getting my drawing and my underpainting kind of a bit tighter than I have here, but it doesn't have to be. And then this is a great thing to just dash your colour onto and just play with your colour, because you're matching the tone that's already laid in. If at any point you lose your tonal underpainting, you'll start to lose the form of what you're trying to draw or paint. So just restate that. When you lose a bit of your darker areas or your underpainting, just restate it. Just go in with some approximate colour that's the right tone and just put that back in. And then just gradually build your colour up. I mean, with dashes of colour. And when you need to simplify, like I've discussed, you just take a step back and simplify. That'll, like I say, will usually be in the broader areas, in the larger passages of colour. But there's nothing wrong in putting, painting with a smaller brush to begin with and then simplifying with a big brush, if that's the way you want to go with it. Okay, hope that's useful. I mean, it's not a finished painting, literally 20-30 minutes to get to this stage. But that underpainting really helps. In fact, if I'm out painting plein air, if I'm out on the field painting, once I've nailed my drawing and my underpaint, which I'll spend most of my time doing, I feel home and dry, because the rest of just spotting the colours and playing around with them is, because you've got that tonal thing underneath, doesn't feel too difficult. And you can correct, you'll put a blue on, it's too blue, just pick a bit more mock-up out of your palette and add it to the blue and go again. And just building the picture up with lots of little Monet-like dashes of colour here, there, and jumping around, and the picture will always hold together. Hope it makes sense. Good luck with your painting, Simon. It's looking good to me. So see you soon.